come, and we are recording, Brianna?
Yep.
Okay, because I just don't see any confirmation of that, but.
I just agreed to record.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I didn't have
Me
to
too.
as host. Okay, so students are entering our virtual room. Welcome, everybody. We're just going to give people a few minutes to come into this space, and then we'll get going. Okay, we'll give it one more minute and then we'll get started. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming to our biology orientation for transfer students today. We're really pleased to have you here. For me, this is always an exciting day to start welcoming students back to campus. This year it's a virtual campus, and so it's a little hard to get used to, but it's always exciting. The energy that comes onto campus when the students return is always just super terrific. And so we'll try to find ways to bring that energy into your semester. So before we get going, I just want to do some introductions here so that you know who is on your panel. And so I'm Laura Burris. I've been at San Francisco State for 23 years now, and I'm a professor. I teach developmental biology, intro biology when I was professing, and now I'm the chair of biology, so I'm mostly chairing. Jose de la Torre may jump on in a little bit, but I think he's busy running around putting out fires. In this case, hopefully metaphorical fires and not real ones. And then I'll pass the baton to Kimberly.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Tanner, and I am a professor of biology here at San Francisco State University. I've been here for 16 years. And important things to know about me are I'm first generation in my family to go to college, so I'm really committed to supporting students and advising and figuring out all the ins and outs of our campus. And I'm also a neuroscientist by training, so my lab studies how people teach and learn biology.
Thank you. And Brianna?
Hi, everyone. My name is Brianna. You might have heard from me already this summer. I was sending you guys a couple notifications through email from the biology@sfsu.edu. So I am the undergraduate specialist for the biology department. So basically, I can be your first point of contact for any questions that you have. I can refer you to a lot of resources in the biology department and also across the campus. So if you have any questions, please ask me.
Yeah, and her email is super easy to remember because it's biology@sfsu.edu. So when in doubt, biology. Next up is Katie Padilla.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie. I was actually an undergraduate transfer student myself a few years ago, and now I'm a current second-year master's student, and my research is in developmental biology right now. So hi.
Great, thank you, Katie. And Rocio.
Everyone, I'm Rocio, and I'm from Oakland, California. I am also a transfer student. I'm graduating in the fall, hopefully, and I'm also doing research on cell-to-cell communication.
All right, thank you, Rocio. And so my plan, just so you know, is that I'm going to do some very general, kind of give you some very general information and start us off with stuff that might be of interest to everybody. And that'll last about 10-15 minutes. And then after that, we're going to open it up for Q&A. And during Q&A, you can either type your question into the Q&A part, or you can start doing that earlier if you want, but we'll get to it at the end. Or you can raise your hand under if you go under participants, you'll be able to click on a thing to raise your hand, and then you could actually ask your question verbally. So that's going to be the plan going forward. And so before we get going, I just want to check in with you and see how you're feeling about the start of school, and get you to weigh in. How are you feeling? This is a very different year. Okay, we got 24 out of 31 voting. Let's see if we can get up there. Oh, good, we're up to 29. Okay, very good. Thank you for that. So I'm gonna end the poll and then share results, which I think you can see anyway. So there's the results that, it's interesting. I had predicted, I always like to make predictions about things. I had predicted that maybe the transfer students would feel a little more chill than the first time freshmen, which is the orientation we just did. But it really looks like you're kind of feeling about the same as they are, you know, a little bit over 40%, and the few jitters. This is a transition. And as we all know, there's a lot going on right now. We have a pandemic, we have an economic crisis, we have fires burning across California, and now you're starting at a new school remotely. So totally makes sense why some people would feel a little bit anxious or even very anxious about things. And you know, kudos to folks that are feeling like, I got this, I'm totally ready. But all of these things just make a lot of sense. So let's see. I got one more poll for you. And in this one, I'm curious, we know that about half of our students are from Northern California and about half from Southern California and a few from other places in the US and around the world. But I'm just curious if you've ever visited our campus in person before. Okay, so that's great. We've got over 90% of people weighing in. And it looks like the majority of you have actually not been to our campus, which is totally fine and totally makes sense. But then the question for us as panelists of how do we welcome people on the campus when they've never seen the campus and all of that. And so I'm gonna take this off to the side. And so first, I want to show you, since we're virtual though, I think that place and space is important. And this is an aerial view of our lovely campus. And so someday when you're coming to campus, here's 19th Avenue. It's a super busy street, but the Muni comes down 19th Avenue. And if you take the BART, the bus will take you and drop you off about here. And on the other, so this is the kind of the campus. On the other side, there'll be Lake Merced and then the ocean, and it's really just lovely. The science buildings are kind of right in here. And so if you were stepping on campus today or Monday, this is where you would end up. And this one right here is Hensel Hall, which is where the biology department is housed. So you'd be taking biology in here and chemistry, physics and stuff, and all these other buildings. And Hensel would look something like this if you were walking on campus today, and someday you will, and we won't. We're going to be out there like giving hugs to everybody that we've met over all this time. And so, so one thing to imagine is kind of the physical space, but to me, the charm of San Francisco State and the beauty of San Francisco State is not in the buildings, it's in the people. And so this is the part that we're going to have to work really hard to recreate virtually. And there will still be these same beautiful people. You are now amongst these beautiful people. And we will give you plenty of opportunities in classrooms to meet and interact and connect with your peers. And so I just want you to know that there's going to be lots of chances to get connected to your community. So I polled some of our undergraduate leaders in biology about their best advice for incoming students. And I want to tell you a little bit about what they said. Number one, find a good advisor. Super important. Visit them early and often, and we'll give you some links for that in just a minute. Number two, make friends in your classes and create lots of study groups. And so This is going to be a little different than in person. In person, you know, sit down by somebody and you start chatting, and then you've got their phone number, email, or whatever, and you go from there. Now you're going to be meeting people in virtual breakout rooms, but you can still do the same kinds of things. You can still, you know, exchange your information and create times to meet with each other and create communities and groups of students who are interested in biology. Don't be afraid to ask for help or resources when you need them. Talk to as many people as you can. There are many wonderful SFSU faculty members. Remember, I didn't write this, a student wrote this, and resources available to students for a variety of educational, professional, financial, and health-related needs on campus. We're ready to support you in this. Don't be shy. And so there's kind of shy in the physical world, there's shy in the virtual world. So just be sure that don't let shyness hold you back from reaching out if you need or want something. And you never know how that one interaction may change your life. And I will, I hope this is okay, but I'll out Kimberly Tanner. When she was introductory biology, she met her future husband there. So I'm not saying you're gonna meet your future spouse there, but you just never know how that one interaction will change your life. Participate in Zoom breakout sessions during class. So if we were in physical space, we would be breaking out into little groups and talking a lot. This will happen in virtual space now. It's super important that you really participate and articulate your ideas and talk to your peers and get to know them. These are the ones that are going to be just critically important for your time at San Francisco State. Don't doubt yourself. I know that it's easy to doubt yourself. There's a lot of things going on in the universe right now, but you can do this. You've already overcome a number of obstacles to get here today. We know that you can do this, and we're ready to help you do this. Plan your classes out for every semester and don't try to wait and figure it out as you go. And so I think it's great to kind of have a plan. It might change a little bit over time, but it's great to map out a plan with an advisor for, okay, I'm coming in as a transfer student. I've completed X, Y, and Z. Here's what I need to do. Here's where how I'm going to do it and when I'm planning to graduate. And so it's great to have a plan, even if it changes over time. Try to be comfortable with the fact that failure is a normal thing. So I can tell you as scientists, once you start doing experiments, you realize that 99% of them fail. And I think Katie and Rosie will probably shake their heads here going, oh yeah, that's for sure. And the same is true as a student, that failure means that you're challenging yourself. So don't be afraid to challenge yourself and fail. You can always bounce back from it. Don't let failure define you. Number 9, do not give up. Try not to lose sight of your end goal. And so for many of you, the end goal is some sort of career at the end. It might be a career in a health profession. It might be research. It might be in, an environmental organization. Don't lose sight of that goal. It's not getting a degree that's your goal, I think. It's what you want to do for your life, with your career. And so the first few years of school can be really daunting, but don't forget why you're here. And lastly, biology is beautiful. I'm a developmental biologist. Every time I see an embryo, I just marvel at what a beautiful thing it is. And I think, gosh, there's no reason that any of this should ever work, and yet it does. And there's some just deep beauty in the fact that biology works. And so I like to ask you to cultivate wonder. Know that grades are important, lab work is important, but don't get so lost in all of that that you forget to stop and enjoy the beauty of biology. That's why you're here. You love biology. That's why we're here. So, first thing, your first tip was find an advisor. How do you find an advisor? Well, there's 2 different types of advisors that you're going to want to get to know. The first one is a GE or university, will help you with GE requirements or university-wide requirements. And this person will be found in the College of Science and Engineering. So all the science departments like biology, chemistry, and physics are organized into a College of Science and Engineering. They have a Student Success Center, and their website is here. And if you go to that website, there'll be a portal to let you make an appointment to see one of their advisors to talk about GE and university-wide requirements. For biology requirements, and this should be a number 2, today we have advising day. And so faculty have advising hours all day today, and there's a link here to go find advising hours. And then for the fall, we have a separate link for their advising hours each week going through the fall. So we'd really recommend that you get out in front of this, visit an advisor, map out a plan, and just tell them a little about who you are, what you want to do when you graduate, and ask them any questions you have. This is a great first connection to make. How to get connected. And so first thing is, you have an SFSU email account now, and so we'll need to get you hooked up to it, but check it daily because you're going to get messages from your instructors and other things there, or you can set it up to forward it to your personal email account, and Brianna can have some more instructions about that. But it's super important to link up to that SFSU email account so that you can hear from us. Read the Bio News. This is a kind of a quasi-newsletter that's delivered weekly from the department. It has information about scholarships, about clubs, and all sorts of ways to get connected. So it's delivered to your SFSU email weekly, and take a look at it. There's lots of good information in there. Again, make sure you talk to your colleagues in class. These are your peers. These are the ones who are going to be there with you through graduation and beyond. Join some clubs. We've got BSTEM, which is Black Excellence in STEM. We've got SACNAS, the Society for the Advancement of Chicano and Native American Scientists. And this one is very inclusive, so you don't have to be Chicana or Native American. And I don't know if Katie and Rocio might be members of SACNAS, but we can ask more questions about that later. And then check out the Student Enrichment Office, SEO, SF Build, and I should add PINC, which is PINC, for possible funding opportunities. And so you would just Google SEO, SFSU, or SF Build and SFSU, or PINC with a C instead of a K, SFSU, and you'll get an idea of some other opportunities. So here we are. You've got your SFSU email, you're all set up, and then Monday comes, you're like, holy crap, how do I find my classes? I need to go to class, but I don't know where to go. And so check your SFSU email for messages from your instructors. Hopefully they'll be sending out Zoom links this week for you to, so you know where to land on Monday or Tuesday if that's your first day of class. You can also go to iLearn, which is our kind of main centralized classroom platform that we use, and this will be true for all of your courses. And to get to iLearn, it's just ilearn.sfsu.edu. You'll log in and see a list of all your courses there. If you click on your course, you should see more information about that course. There might be a syllabus, there might be some other stuff, but your Zoom link should also be on your iLearn page. If neither of those two things works, then by all means email your instructor today and say, hey, I don't know how to access my class. What's the Zoom link? How to crash your class. So by crashing, you might be familiar with this term or not. It's kind of a term that people use. So if you were not able to enroll in a class that you were hoping to take, so it was full and you couldn't enroll on it using the online process, then email the instructor and say, hey, my name is so-and-so, I'm a transfer student, I was hoping to take this class this semester. Is there any chance you still have space for me to add? And if so, what would the process be? And so email the instructor. If you don't hear back from them, try again. But that's the basic process. And if they have space, they'll likely send you a Zoom link to join in so you can keep up while they're sorting out the enrollment process. So there's a bunch of additional resources here. I just want to point you to them. I don't want to spend a lot of time on them. The biology website's always a great place to find out information. The kind of home page has a lot of kind of current information for students, but if you dig a little bit deeper, you can find everything from faculty research interest to advising and that sort of thing. For specific information about your concentrations and requirements, because many of you will be in different degrees, there's a page here that's a great page for advising. It'll link to the different concentrations and majors, and under each one of those, there'll be a checklist and a 4-year plan. And obviously you don't need the 4-year plan because you're a transfer student, but you can kind of see where you are in that plan and then adjust and say, okay, here's the last 2 years and what I need to get done. Also, we know that a great number of you are considering careers in some sort of health profession, whether it be medical school or nursing or physician assistant, pharmacy, veterinary school. And we're going to hold a separate orientation for students considering careers in pre-health professions on Tuesday, September 8th from 3:30 to 5. So save the date. Brianna will be emailing you with more information about that. And know that in the spring, we're going to offer a course on health professions that will help you kind of navigate your way through the degrees, through the application process and everything that you need to know. And that course, the name of it is Sci 239, but you'll be getting more information about that as well. Many of you will have questions about financial aid, the Dream Resource Center, and lastly, but not least, is the counseling and psych services. And I would say don't be shy about making an appointment to go there. There is so much going on right now between the pandemic and anti-Black racism and the downturn of the economy and the fires, and now you're transitioning to a new school. So there is no shame in asking for help from counseling services, and we really encourage you to do so if you're feeling like you're starting to kind of get depressed or anxious or any of those things. It totally makes sense that you would be feeling those things, and it'd be great to reach out for help earlier than later. So I really encourage that. So that's my little kind of generic presentation. And now I want to see what kinds of questions you have for us. And so I see one in the chat box already, and we'll start with that one, but type in your questions that we can help out with, and we'll go to the panelists. So the first question is, I would like to meet with an advisor to evaluate all my biology courses and plan into my graduation, to know exactly what courses would count toward my graduation. I highly appreciate your help regarding this matter. So Kimberly, do you want to kind of help this person kind of figure out how to find an advisor and get started with that process, what they should bring or how they should start the interaction?
I think that there's a link on here, but maybe someone can paste it, that has a list of all the advisors in the biology department. So I think if you have a sense of what particular major you're interested in, for example, BS in physiology, you would go and you would look for an advisor who is listed under the BS in physiology. And I always encourage students that there are drop-in hours, but I think it's always helpful if you email the professor in advance and let them know that you're going to drop by, so they're expecting you and they make time for you. It's also super helpful to bring not only what you're thinking about when you think about what you might do when you graduate, but to bring a copy of your unofficial transcripts, so that if you want to be looking up some stuff about what courses you've already completed, what you need to do next, like having that handy is really important. And especially for transfer students, I think if you're not familiar with assist.org, that website is also a really helpful one to have sort of handy, like what community college you went to, and then we can, I often am looking with students about which of these courses articulate, hopefully lots of them, but if they don't, we want to figure that out really early on. So I think my advice is just, be brave, go out, shoot an email. Those unofficial transcripts are really helpful to have handy. And I will say, as an undergrad, I never went and saw faculty advisors because I was so intimidated. I never went to a faculty advisor. So I encourage you to do that. I see time and again those students who go out and meet with faculty advisors. They graduate faster. It's going to save you cash. The faculty have insights that can help get you through faster. And that's what we're here for. So thanks for being braver than I was as an undergrad.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's Jose. We can introduce Jose now. Jose, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sorry, I got caught up in making lunch for the whole family. So my name is Jose de la Torre. I'm a faculty member here in biology. I've been here for about 12 years. And I'm generally a microbiology and clinical life sciences advisor, but I've been seeing people all day on my virtual advising for all majors. So don't be shy, just come. Even if you're not exactly sure who you want to talk to, any of us can at the very least, point you in the right direction.
Okay, thank you.
And so there was one question from Marin on the Q&A asking about classes that are full. And this is unfortunately a problem that we have. And my advice in general is you did the right thing. You emailed the professor, show up for those classes, participate in the class as much as you can. And oftentimes during the first couple of weeks, there's some sort of resorting that happens often. And we encourage our students to just be persistent. That persistence is really one of the key attributes you'll need as a student at a large public university. And oftentimes we can accommodate the students that have sort of shown up and been persistent. But it's key to show up for all those lectures and to turn in the assignments. Certainly in the class that Laura and Kimberly and I have taught in the past, which is the introductory biology course, that's a really, really important aspect of things, just to just show up and turn in those assignments and participate in the class fully.
Okay. So the next question is, when will we find out if we can enroll into a class from the wait list? Kimberly, you want to chew on that?
I'm going to say that this tends to be really professor specific and course specific. And I see Katie nodding. This is where our student panelists should hop in because they have the lived experience. I think it's different for different faculty. And the key is to be persistent, to go to the first class, follow up. So I'm going to turn over to Katie or Rocio because they are nodding. You have advice?
Yeah, I would keep emailing them. Obviously, I think they'll probably let you into the class the first week, just because if you are on the wait list. But maybe just email just to ask, like, has anyone dropped yet? What are the chances of you getting into the course? And maybe just keep attending that first week as well. But chances are, like, if you stay persistent, you might be able to add by the end of the week.
Rocio, anything to add to that?
I think I would agree. I think the only thing I would add would be, no, I don't think I have anything to add. I think it's persistence, and it's also, if you have friends, I know it's hard because as a transfer student, but for example, I had people that I know prior to coming to SF State, so they were like, okay, for this professor do this, for this other professor do that. So if you happen to have any friends that know that professor, it would be good to ask around as well.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm just going to pop in. There's a person who said they have to leave early. And I just want to say, if you have to leave early, you can directly email myself or Brianna or Laura or Jose. And our emails are pretty easy to find. You just Google us. So you can always email us directly if you have to leave early.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so here's a question saying, hi, I was trying to enroll in one of the biology courses. I thought I was on the wait list. Apparently I was not. I heard back from Professor Sally about it and came to understand that the course was only in the shopping cart. Cannot seem to get past the error. And so Professor Sally asked her to reach out to Cozy. So Brianna, do you have any ideas about how to move past that?
I think reaching out to Cozy would be a good idea, to reach out to one of their advisors, but also it depends on what the error is. I'm assuming it's saying that it's full. That would be the error I think it would probably be coming up with. So if that's the case, I would email the professor, I guess Professor Sally.
Yeah.
I'm going to say
so
that,
I would, yeah, go ahead, Kimberly.
I was going to say maybe Brianna or someone, we could paste the Cozy Student Success Center website in the chat. Because when I was first here for a year, I was like, Cozy, why are people talking about Cozy? Is it like warm here? What is this? So Cozy stands for College of Science and Engineering. And we'll hear all of us say, like, send them to Cozy. And the Cozy Student Success Center, I send students there for things like this because they are staff advisors and they understand a lot about the computer systems behind the registration. And as a faculty member, I don't. And so the staff advisors at the Cozy, College of Science and Engineering, Student Success Center, they just have a lot more insights into the backside of that. So this sounds like a computer error that Professor Passione wants you to get resolved. And I think the Cozy Student Success Center, there it is. They have a big button in the middle of that page that says schedule an appointment, or sometimes they're drop-in hours. And they're like magic at resolving things like that, that as a faculty member, I have no idea how to deal with.
Okay. Thank you for that. So the next question, how can we study the labs? Is it still online or does it depend? And I think I'll field that one because we had an enormous summer project involving many faculty and staff and graduate students to actually adapt our laboratory course offerings for online format. And so all of the labs will be held online. And what we learned as a department when we were going through thinking about this is we had some core competencies for our labs, which involved being able to use the process of science to answer questions, being able to use quantitative analysis to answer scientific questions, and being able to connect science and society. And we really realized that we don't have to be in a wet lab for those things to happen. And so we're going to really emphasize those core competencies, and we have developed what we hope will be some very engaging curriculum that you'll be able to do remotely. So all labs will be remote this semester. Okay, which classes do we need to submit for approval to the biology department for transfer credit? Oops, it just moved on me. I notice there's only room on each departmental equivalency form for 2 classes, so should we submit several? Brianna, you ready for that one?
Yeah, so if you're requesting equivalency for more than 2 classes, you will have to submit several forms. But it depends. So if you're not seeing it transfer on your progress report, then you'll want to submit an equivalency form to one of our major advisors for this. But if you're already seeing it transfer, sorry, go ahead.
I think even if you do see it transferring that we need the equivalency report, or do we change that? I think we do
Yes.
for now.
Okay, so yes, if you have multiple, please fill out multiple forms.
Sounds good. Okay. Let's see. I recently just got my transcript sent to the schools and I'm having trouble figuring out which classes to pick and somebody would assist with that, or is it better to meet with the counselor? Katie or Rocio, you want to talk about how to pick classes and what your process is?
Rosie, do you want to start?
Okay, I'll start. Okay, so the first thing that I would suggest in your student portal, you have a degree progress report. That has been extremely helpful for me. There you can see exactly what classes transferred and what classes didn't transfer and what they are accounted for. And if you declared a major, it would tell you which classes you need and which or which you have fulfilled. So I would say that's like a rough kind of way to go about it. And then once you know that, I would say there's also in every, like I'm a biochem major, but each department has a like a link in their website where they have a list of classes that you need to take. So I would print that out or just have it as a PDF format of like the classes you need to graduate. And that's my second step. And from there, I would pick my classes, the ones that are still open. So first go to my student portal. Second, determine which classes I need by clicking on the link of the biology department. Right there, the requirement sheet, it's detailed of which classes you need and what are the requirements. And then third, I would look up what classes are still available for me.
Anything to add to that?
Yeah, also with the degree in progress, it also will tell you the equivalent courses. So say you took organic chemistry somewhere else and it was titled something else, you'll actually see it there in the degree in progress, what it is for SF State. So that way, when you look at prereqs, you can find out like which class that you actually are qualified to take based off of that as well.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question is for student panelists. When is a good time to begin looking into undergraduate research opportunities, and how does one go about doing that in distance learning environment?
Do
you want to go first, Katie?
I'll go first. I think it might be a little bit different now because of the pandemic going on. But ultimately, what a lot of people have done is they've approached professors in classes they've enjoyed, and maybe there's something there that sparked their interest, and asked, a lot of the faculty have labs that maybe they're looking, and most of them are looking for undergrad students, or they'll invite undergrad students to do research. So that's kind of a way to go about it. Just keep talking to professors about it, and then say, maybe if you go online and you find a lab that you are interested in, and maybe you don't know that professor, don't be hesitant to maybe just email them and see if they have openings in their lab. I know people that have done it that way as well. But for me, I think I waited a year after I transferred to actually get into research. I actually wasn't really aware of it when I first transferred, but I think it kind of just is dependent of you if you feel you're ready to take on that responsibility after transferring. I just felt, for me, I wasn't ready. So that's why I waited a year. But maybe Rocio might have a different approach to it as well.
Thank you, Katie. For me, it was more of another really good resource is the SEO office. So the SEO is like a place where there's, that website has all the scholarships, the research programs. There's like SF Build, there's a MARC, and all these programs can help pay for your school and give you research opportunities. So I would say to check out that website. For me, I was already part of a research program before I got into state. So it was kind of like, that's the reason I came to SF State. But being here, there's a lot of resources. So I would say, like, ask around, even in other departments. If you're interested in like health, I know that there's like a community clinic here on campus that operates out of the Mission, and they're collaborating with UCSF. So there's a lot of resources on campus. It's just a matter of like not being afraid to ask. And now it's virtual, so maybe it's easier, but it can be scary. So that would be my answer to that question.
Yeah. And I'll just pipe in and say that there's not currently any undergraduate research going on campus. We had an enormous summer program called Summer Coding Immersion Program that engaged students through many, many labs in learning how to code. And so a lot of labs have taken on some computational projects at this point, so they're very active. I also want to put a plug in for a service learning course taught by Dr. Leti Marquez Magana. It's Bio 331 that will connect students with some kind of internship opportunities at UCSF. And so maybe look into that as well. Kimberly, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to pop in because I know I've worked with lots of transfer students who maybe aren't aware, but if you do get involved in doing research on campus, you can enroll in what's called Bio 699 units, which are independent study units. And up to 3 of those units, if you're doing research in a lab, can count towards your degree. And so I'm always a big fan of people figuring out how to finish their degree and get experience. And so you may work a lot more than 3 units in a lab, but remember that Bio 699 could count towards your degree. And I absolutely agree there for folks who are interested in lots of different leadership opportunities. Research is one fabulous way that there are multiple service learning courses in the department that you can take a look at. Most of them are in the 600 levels, but some of them involve being peer mentors for other students. Sometimes we have courses where you go out and teach the biology you know to folks off campus, including elementary and middle school kids. So there's just a lot of ways you can maybe overlap your coursework with getting community experience or research experience.
Thank you for that. So we have a follow-up question. If all the classes from their AST show up on the degree progress report, you still need to do the equivalency forms? And I would say that the answer is yes. We're working on streamlining that process, but I think for now the answer is yes. And the next question is, what did I miss so far? So welcome, I think you logged in a little bit late. We're gonna have a recording up on the website, and Brianna will also be sending it out. So you'll be able to watch that and catch everything you've missed. And then we can catch up with questions in the meantime. So will the videos from the virtual Gator Days be posted? I attended one, but wasn't able to see the others. And so I think we posted the main video, but I don't think we posted the breakout sessions. And I'm not even totally sure that they were recorded. So yeah, I don't know that we have the breakout sessions recorded. Sorry about that. That was a whole new undertaking for us. Anybody else? You can also raise your hand if it's too complicated, right? Just raise your hand and ask us using your voice.
So Cerise asked whether the equivalency forms still need to be submitted if the courses from your community college already show up in your degree progress report. In the past, the answer to that question was unfortunately yes. We still needed equivalency forms to accompany your graduation application. But that is something that we're going to have to look into because the degree application forms are changing this year to online as opposed to paper forms. And so we'll need to look at exactly what that process looks like. But hopefully we'll have an answer early on in the semester, long before the applications are due.
Yeah. And so I see a raised hand by, is it Alice or Elise? Do you want to say your question? Let's see, are you muted? I can't hear you.
There is a question by Annalise in the Q&A.
Yeah, but she also had a hand raised. So let's go to Sajana then.
Oh, hi.
there's
So basically I
Okay.
didn't able to have a microphone on.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, about the integrative biology. Because like I've been putting on the chat like I don't have my microphone on, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wanted to know if you have something similar to that.
So this course
So-
that's in the link?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm taking a look at it, and that seems to be a course. Namely, it's a ecology course, and it looks like it's ecology of California, and we have a number of courses like that in our department. Some of them are for majors, some of them are non-majors, and so what I encourage you to do is look through the course offerings. We have a number of courses that could fit that bill, depending on what you're interested in. And so I'll type into the chat the URL for the courses offered in biology, and that's all of the courses. And then you'll have to look at which semesters they're actually offered. But we do have courses like that.
But you guys don't have like an actual department that is like that, right? Like integrative biology, you don't have that actual department?
So we have just one department. Berkeley used to have, when I was a student there and as an undergraduate, Berkeley had something like 25 different biology departments. And then they consolidated into three biology departments: plant and microbial biology, integrative biology, and molecular and cell biology. And integrative biology is basically where they put everyone who couldn't fit into the other ones. We have just one. So we fit everyone. And we have lots of people that do all kinds of stuff. It's actually amazing because we have ecologists working with cell biologists. It's really kind of exciting. So I think if you look through the courses, you'll find exactly what you want.
Okay.
Okay?
I was really interested in that part because it's in person. So like I was wondering if any of your labs, like biology lab, will be in person, because I know there's like classes there that are in person. That class I specifically sent to you is like it's an in-person class.
I don't believe that Berkeley is going to have any in-person classes when they start.
Yeah, a lot of units. So we are not having any in-person classes for undergraduates this semester. And a lot of universities started off saying that they were, but they're all backpedaling now and everybody's going remote. So everything is remote this fall.
Just like UNC, what happened to UNC? Like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And Notre Dame and
Yeah. Even
and
Stanford, you know, Stanford
Yep.
said they were going to be, and lots of places have very fancy plans and now they've just aborted and are backpedaling as fast as they can.
And it's sad because that means that the students have spent a lot of money moving to campus and now they have to spend money to move back home. It's really unfortunate.
ouch.
And so, you
Yep.
know, the CSU was really proactive in saying that they were going online. And what it allowed us to do was to plan for it and to plan how to revise our laboratory curriculum so that we could still offer a really quality laboratory curriculum online. And so we're in really good shape there.
So when it comes to lab, right, like how were you able to dissect something on a lab online? Like how do you guys, because I know like
Yeah, and
most
so that it's going to be different. So it's not going to be the same hands-on experience. And so we're focusing on our 3 core competencies, which are understanding and being able to apply the process of science to asking, you know, scientific questions, to being able to use quantitative analysis to answer scientific questions, and understanding the connection between science and society. And so those 3 things will take you a very long ways. Will it be the same as dissecting a fetal pig? No, it won't be the same as that. But I think that in this day and age, it's really these mental skills that are going to carry you the farthest in terms of your lab skills. Kimberly, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I just want to hop in and say, since you're transfer students, you know, you're further ahead for people who are just starting as first-time freshmen. I would encourage you to like get a profile on LinkedIn, link in with some professors. I will say I've had the luxury of teaching thousands of students at San Francisco State. They're out working in biotech, they're getting PhDs, they're doing all these things. And when they come back and talk about what they really valued is learning how to think like a scientist. That's what allows them to like rise in the ranks of biotech and really do amazing work where they go next. And so our labs are going to try and really emphasize those habits of minds of scientists, which I think is going to take you professionally really far based on what our alums come back and share.
Yeah, totally agree.
how do you get networking with other students or alum? Like, because my goal is to get my PhD in tech. Like, I wanna my goal is actually like working for artificial intelligence. Do you guys have a like as a biology major or something like that? Like, do you actually like can you work as an AI scientist with biology? Like,
So if you're interested in biology and tech, I think Rocio would have something to say about. Rocio, were you officially in PINC or did you just do the science coding program?
I did the pink program for 2 semesters and it got pretty hard because I was stretched pretty thin, and that's another thing of like learning how to balance everything.
So can you tell her what PINC is and how it would combine this idea of doing computational or, you know, computer type stuff with biology?
Yes. So basically what the purpose of the PINC program is to get more biologists to learn how to program to do data science. And so in my 2nd semester, we did data structures, and I met the peer mentors that were peer mentoring us. What they wanted to do was basically what you're describing, learning how to do machine learning to apply it to biological systems. So it's definitely possible, and right now everything is being remotely, but you might want to go to the SEO website. I think they have a link to the PINC program, but it's a good program to check out. Sorry, Laura.
If you look up PINC, it's PINC for promoting inclusivity and computation. It's not pink the color. And you can get a minor in computer science as a biology major by completing the PINC program. And so it's a really great interdisciplinary program that might fit you really well. Any more questions before we move on to the next one?
how do I join PINC?
So if you Google PINC with PINC and SFSU and biology, there'll be a whole website about PINC, and we'll give you a lot more instructions about who to contact. It'd probably be It's normally Pluni Pennings, but she's out of the country, so I'm not sure who the contact person is.
Oh, not pink, like as in color pink, right? Like,
Right, Pink, P-I-N-C.
oh, I see.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. So Sajana, you've had your hand up for a little bit. What can we help you with?
Hi,
Hi.
I had asked you question earlier in question and answer about the uh, systematic error about the checklist. So I have emailed to COSI about it, but then I haven't heard any reply from it. But then as you mentioned that I need to take and schedule appointment with COSI regarding this error. I made an appointment just now, and I got an appointment on August 24, 9 a.m. So what my professor told me, my professor Sally told me that I have to be confirmed before Sunday to attend Monday class. So what shall I do? Shall I just email her regarding to take a link, a Zoom link for the class, or what else?
Yeah, I would email her and say, look, I made an appointment for August 24th at 9 a.m. It was the first one I could get. You can CC me on that message and say, under the circumstances, could I please have a link to attend the first day of class?
Oh, okay. So then, and I had another question as well. I emailed to my professor biology biology 4.2 about the classes that I want to get enrolled. I have emailed him 3 or 4 times, but I haven't heard any email back from him or her. So what can I do for it?
Which class is it? You said 482?
No, biology 402. It's
402.
laboratory for microbiology.
Microbiology.
But
Um,
his name is, I think, Joseph M. Romeo.
Joe Romeo. Okay. Boy. I would say to try again and again CC me. And that way, if you don't hear back, then I'll try to follow up with them.
Okay.
Maybe CC Brianna as well. So CC biology at sfsu.edu because she's got a little more capacity than I do. And I'd say that'd be true for you too, Elise. Both of us, but CC biology at sfsu.edu as well as me. And I'm L Burris at sfsu.edu.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
But we'll try to work behind the scenes to make sure you get a reply.
Thank
So
you.
for the summer program, right? Like, is it over or is it only for freshmen, the summer program, or is it open to the summer program one for Pink? Is it only open for freshmen or is it also open for transfer?
Oh, definitely for transfers as well.
So can you tell me about the summer programs and like what do you guys do for summer programs?
So there's already, I think a number of us posted the link for the PINK program online. So what I'd encourage you, because there's lots of questions, is take a look at that first. The application for summer programs for next summer typically are in February. So you have lots of time to look into that. And there's lots of research programs. Look also at the SEO office that Rocio put on the links as well in the chat. So take a look at those first, and then what you can do is you can make an appointment with any of us or come to our office hours, and we can discuss those programs in more detail. But we have a number of summer research programs that will help you find research labs. Okay, but they're all the applications for those are due early in January or February typically.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
You're welcome.
And so we had one more question with a hand raised from Yogesh, and then we'll go back to the Q&A with the written ones. So Yogesh. Is there? There we go.
Oh, yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes, thank you.
So I actually have a couple questions.
Mhm.
The first one is having to do with whether we're allowed to change our grading from A, B, C, D, F to ABC/no credit for our majors classes.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Last semester, they made some special circumstances for, given the pandemic and how everything was changed. But as far as I know, this semester for majors classes, it's letter grades only.
Okay. The second question I have is regarding your course withdrawal policy after the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
So does that, like, if let's say in the dire and rare cases, if I need to withdraw from a course, can I do it online or does it have to go through you?
Probably after the 14th. I have to look. They just changed it and they just told the chairs what the changes were. And I don't have it fresh in my mind, but my guess is that it will still go through an advisor and then the chair. I think the change is that they're being less constricted about what, it's supposed to be with serious and compelling reasons after that, but now they're being kind of more flexible about those, because I think they've realized that students have very challenging lives right now. So I think it still has to go through channels, but I'm not sure. Kimberly?
And I think the key thing is that you should talk to your course instructor, because the course instructor, as a course instructor, I help people withdraw every semester. And usually they come and talk to me, we strategize together, and the course instructor can go on and electronically withdraw you from the class for much of this semester. It's just like the end in the past, the last few weeks, like then it has to go to chairs and deans. But right. The one thing I will say is that because we're a big university, and many of you have talked about like you're trying really hard to get into classes and classes are really full, that withdrawing is not something like dropping. You don't just withdraw from a class because you're not doing well or you don't like your grade. And the reason that that's the case is because that causes then other students not to have been able to take that seat in the course. And so withdrawing is something that you want to be really thoughtful, like don't take too many classes, right? Because you want to do well in those classes. You can't just withdraw if you feel like you're not happy with your grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, thank you. The next question up on Q&A is, can we repeat what we were talking about microbiology? I think the question was about a microbiology lab where they're having a hard time getting in touch with the instructor, who in this case happened to be Joe Romeo. And so if that's going on for you as well, you can CC me and biology at SFSU on your email to Professor Romeo, and we'll try to make contact.
Can I hop in, Laura? Because there was a couple of questions that all related to one idea, and it said, hey, can we change our major? Like if I'm in like a physiology major, can I change to general biology or vice versa? And the short answer is yes. It's pretty flexible to do that. You just need to meet with an advisor. So I advise for this summer I advise for all the majors, but mostly I advise for the Bachelor of Arts in General Biology. And the Bachelor of Arts in General Biology is awesome because you have a lot more flexibility. So this person, I think, was aspiring to go to pharmacy school. And so you could talk about how you could fit in a lot of the prerequisite courses for pharmacy and a BA in general biology. You just need to go talk to an advisor who can help you figure that out. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we have some more time still dedicated to this space. Are there any other questions we can help you with? I'm sure there's many. You can either raise your hand under the participants or pop it into Q&A. And so one thing I'll say, and I think that because you're transfer students, you already have a pretty good grasp on this, but in general, people, if you're kind of what's considered a standard load for students is around 15 units a semester. But this really depends on how much you're working, how much you're having to care for family members and that sort of thing. And so you don't want to stretch yourself too thin. You want to make sure that there's time for everything. For every hour you spend in class, you should plan to spend about 3 hours out of class. And make sure when you add it all up that you still have time to go pee. Because I've had students add up their schedules and they literally did not have time to go pee or take the BART or do anything. Right now you don't have to commute, so that saves a little time, but make sure that you have time to do the things you need to do. And in that schedule, whether it be, 6 units, 10 units, 12 units, I know that 12 is what you need for financial aid. Make sure that you're always taking some courses towards the major. They could be biology, chemistry, physics, math, but make sure that you're always taking, 1 or 2 courses towards the major. Would I take 15 units of major courses? Absolutely not. The major courses tend to be a little more challenging than some of the university and GE courses, and it would be a hugely heavy load to have 15 units of hardcore science. So I would discourage you from doing that. Okay. So here's another question. I want to take a microbiology course, but it's full. I contacted the instructor about wanting to join. Is there anything else I can do to get into class? Depends. Did the instructor get back to you with some instructions on how to think about joining? Adam, if you unmute, you can talk to us. Or you can type into Q&A. So usually I'll say that these things are controlled by the instructors. So if you're having a hard time getting in touch with the instructor, then email the instructor and CC Brianna at biology@sfsu.edu. You can CC me. We'll help you get in touch with the instructor, but it's usually up to them. So you say the instructor mentioned that you acknowledge for wanting to take the course. I guess I would email back and just say, what are my chances, and can I have a Zoom link so I can attend and keep up until the final enrollment is set? I think that would be the best follow-up at this point. Kimberly, do you have any add-ons to that?
No, I think just being patient, lots of faculty have other things that they're doing in the summer, and so they're just getting back, right? So some of them are just arriving. So if you're not hearing back, I just be patient, and on the first day of the class, I think a lot will be unveiled. And if you're having trouble getting a link to that class, I think the biology department is probably going to have access to that. So
yeah, okay, thank you. The next question is, how do I declare a minor in integrative biology? And so 2 things. One is that if you're majoring in biology, you can't also have a minor in biology. But if you were majoring in something else and wanted a minor in integrative biology, then right now we don't have an integrative biology minor. We have ecology, we have botany and zoology. In the future, but I'm not sure it will be future soon enough, these are going to collapse into one concentration, which will be much more closely related to an integrative biology concentration. But for now, the 3 that are most closely related are the ecology, botany, and zoology, and you can choose one of those minors. Katie or Rosia, do you have any best advice for a transfer student coming in virtually and trying to navigate all of this without actually coming on campus?
I think what I would say is what I would say on a be connected. I know that a lot of the lectures are recorded. Try to go to class, have a regular schedule, be proactive as well. And what else was I gonna say? And then keep in touch with your professors. Go to their office hours if you're not understanding anything. And I think somebody mentioned participating in the breakout rooms. That is key if you want to create a group that is gonna push you forward, because it's hard being a student in these times. And I would go to the library every day and just sit with my friends or just be in the lab, and I don't have that anymore. So or just reaching out to folks and asking for help could be advice. But I do acknowledge that every living situation is different, and that might not be the option for you as well. So, but also reach out to Laura. I know Laura is always really busy, but you have faculty that really care for the students. So just remember that, and they have your best interest in mind.
Katie, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think adding, because it is a virtual space, I think because we do usually with classes keep chats open, maybe throw it out there, you know, like a lot of people you don't know anyone, maybe you know some people that maybe they're not in the class, but maybe, you know, throw it out in the chat, like ask, you know, say, hey, maybe does anyone want to study together? Does anyone want to form a study group? And you guys can kind of connect via the classrooms and kind of just form that little environment there. And maybe from there, you know, you build relationships with people. I found that to be helpful last semester when we first started getting into this virtual course, by just throwing it out there, like, does anyone understand this? Can you help? Does anyone want to study? Those are things that I think will get people to start really using this virtual space a little bit better.
Yeah, so one, Elise just said, I would like to connect with fellow transfer students to do a study group together. That's a great idea. And so as you get into classes, you can put that in a chat box and I say, hey, any other transfer students who want to get together and study? Because you will all, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to pop in and say that every year, about 25 to 30% of our graduating biology majors are transfer students. So transfer students do extremely well here. Like they're a huge, you're not going to be rare. Like they're a huge part of the population. I collaborate with biology instructors at pretty much all of the 23 community colleges in the San Francisco Bay Area. So like probably we have some mutual colleagues. So don't be shy. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that as transfer students, you are so wise. You have so much experience. And the students who struggle in the biology department are the first-time freshmen who tend to be very, very lost. They just have not been to college before. And so, yeah, you can absolutely organize study groups with transfer students, but I'm going to give a shout out that, like, please try and just organize study groups with your colleagues, because the first-time freshmen will benefit enormously from you, even if they're like in their sophomore year, because you just have a lot of life experience, and that's one of the things we love about having such a large transfer population here. So that's a shout out for you, because you have a lot of assets to bring, and our students will benefit from studying with you.
So there's a question about what kind of tutoring services you have. Kimberly, do you want to bite on that one?
I think I might not. I know that tutoring services were just recently reorganized, so we have lots of different options. Laura, I'm going to shoot it back. They
were, and so they now fall under an acronym called TASC, and I can't remember what it stands for, but I think it's TASC. And if you Google for TASC and SFSU, you will find a homepage for the tutoring services, and so they are there, and that's how you'll find them. So we have a question. I came late. Where will the recording be? So Brianna's going to email it to all students. So if you got the email about this, you'll get the email with the link for the recording, and she's going to put it on the main website. You think you got dropped from Calc for not having a prereq, even though it allowed me to add earlier. That's possible. The initial enrollment system does not check for prereqs, and so then instructors go back and check for prereqs. So you may want to check with an advisor, because maybe you'll be able to take a pre-calc or some other appropriate prerequisite to get you moving in the right direction. Does your department have its own tutoring services? We don't have our own tutoring services, but Brianna, do you want to talk about BUMP a little bit?
Yeah, so this semester we're launching a new peer mentoring program called BUMP, Biology Undergraduate Mentoring Program. So I did send out an email. We do still have, I believe, 50 spots open if you would like to join our peer mentoring program. It's not quite the same as tutoring, but you'll be able to connect with some of them are current students and some of them are alumni. And so you'll be able to connect with them, and they can also connect you with certain resources on campus like tutoring services. But it's a great program. Even if you are a transfer student, you're still new here. So yeah, if you want to join, I would recommend doing it, filling out the survey that I sent out today, because I have a feeling those 50 spots will fill up soon. Yeah, but that would be a great way to get further resources.
And so to be clear, the BUMP program, it's Biology Undergraduate Mentoring Program. It's going to connect current students or recent graduates with incoming students. And just to have a landing place, a real life person that you can connect to via text or email to ask your questions and help get connected to the campus. So like Brianna said, they won't be tutors, but they'll be able to direct you towards the right resources for that.
I'll add that some of our classes, many of the classes in science that are sort of the lower division introductory classes, also have paired SCI courses, SCI courses, that can be used to sort of supplement instruction. These are typically 1-unit courses that are incredibly useful for many students. They have sort of limited enrollment, which is unfortunate, but that's a limitation of just having only so many classes and so much manpower to be able to staff them. But they're often staffed by near peers that have experience taking the class. And so those are worth looking into as well.
Okay, thank you. So there's a question saying, are we going to be directed to advisors, or when do we click on the Zoom links if they don't have hours posted? Brianna?
So the biology advisor page that I put in the chat, it's still a work in progress. So we don't have all the hours listed yet. So I would wait until their hours are posted if you're trying to contact someone specifically. Their emails are on there as well if you would like to email them. But until we have exact hours posted, I would maybe wait. Maybe see if there's another advisor that's in that concentration, see if they have their hours posted and their link posted already.
Yeah. And most advisors have hours today, so that you'll be able to see an advisor today if you want to.
Let me put that in the chat too.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay. One more. So I think the question from Marin is, do we need to take major courses during the first semester? I would say it's always a good idea to take at least one class in the major to keep moving forward. And so it doesn't have to be biology, but there should be biology, chemistry, physics, or math. You should take at least one, hopefully two, depending on how much capacity you have, courses each semester. And so there's still time to add some stuff if you're not enrolled in a course and you would think about maybe dropping a GE or university requirement to move forward.
I'm just going to totally second that, because I think one of the things that can happen is people take all their GE courses and then they just have their majors courses left, but there's some prerequisite structure to that, and you can delay your graduation by a semester or 2 semesters if you haven't sort of spread out those science courses and made sure your prerequisites are, you've got them sort of fulfilled so you can take the next one. So that's another reason why just meeting with an advisor is really important. Like especially transfer students, if you're interested in a specific Bachelor of Science major like physiology, zoology, ecology, those specialized ones, definitely meet with an advisor in that area, because they know the ins and outs of like what's offered in fall, what's offered in spring. Like, oh, you should really tuck your physics class in here because you're going to need it in 2 semesters. They're really, really helpful. And once again, I advise for the BA in general biology. I also, Jose said earlier, I'm happy to talk with anyone at any point and point in the right direction. It's just, please reach out, because I always say if I had gone to school here, it can get really complicated at a really large institution. And sometimes I think, wow, I don't know if I would have asked enough questions to make it through. So go team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kimberly's absolutely right. So I usually recommend that the mentees that come to my advising hours, that they show up once every semester, right before, usually, a couple weeks before you have to finalize your class enrollments for the next semester. That's a good time to come by. because we can often, like Kimberly says, we can often save you a semester or two of pain, and really it's worthwhile. Plus, you develop a good relationship. There was a question from Lonnie as who do you recommend as an advisor? All of our advisors are wonderful. They're also people, and so just like not everyone forms a good relationship, there's usually more than one advisor for every major. So it's totally okay to shop around and find an advisor that you relate to. And if it isn't the first one you meet, go to another one. And there's many of us. And remember that we're here because we love students. So we are definitely dedicated to making sure that you guys are successful.
Thank you. I see that Maren has your hand up. So Maren, do you want to unmute and talk to us?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, but the problem is I try to enroll in bio tutoring, but it's full, and the other biology major are prerequisite of the bio tutoring, so I cannot enroll the other biology unless I enrolled at biology tutoring first.
Okay. So have you emailed the instructors yet?
Yes, I emailed him, but he sent me the link to attend in case something is like in case some student drop out.
Yeah, I'm very encouraged about your chances for Bio 230. So go to class and be persistent.
Okay.
Okay. So you're not out yet. You just have to show up and keep going to class, and I think you have better than 50-50 chance of getting in.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so Laura and Jose and I all teach in that class, and we have been able to get almost everyone in for many semesters. And they'll add people in sort of the order of seniority. So like as transfer students, you're sort of further along, and you might have sort of more advanced standing, like junior standing. You'll be more likely to get in than someone who's in their first semester. So please persist. Email the instructors. They'll give you advice. Go to the first lab section that meets your schedule. And I think this is also just part of a big university. The university wants to fill all the core classes that are there before they would ever sort of add more classes. So, so this is something to get a bit used to at San Francisco State.
Yeah.
Katie and Rocio might have other advice.
Okay, thank you.
And also, in the off chance that you don't get into Bio 230, talk to an advisor. There are other courses you can take to move you ahead in the major. And so just make sure you check in with an advisor to make sure that we're getting done with the math, the chemistry, the physics. There's things to do that will help move you forward. But the top choice would be to get into 230. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, trying to get my cursor back here. Does SFSU hire a company from Edlift? No, we don't. So Manuel asked, how do we get into research? We did answer it, but we'd be happy to answer it again. So Rocio or Katie, you want to tell Manuel how to get into research?
Yes,
you wanna
I
go
will.
first?
Oh yeah, go first.
No, you go. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the best advice that I would give, I think Laura mentioned that undergraduates are not doing research at this moment, it's only graduate students because of the state that things are in. However, the SEO website, I'll put it up in the chat again, has great resources in terms of research. So that would be one of the ways that you could find out more about that. There's programs like SF Build, Mark, and if you go to that website, they have more details on that. There's also a PINK program, the PINK program, which is like a kind of collaboration between the biology department and merging computer science as well. So that would be my advice for you.
Yeah,
Katie,
I
anything
agree.
to add? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think previously we mentioned some potential summer programs as well for them right now. There's some other, I think projects most projects have been moved to being online or fully remote. So I think also because I think there's no in-lab undergraduate research, maybe certain labs might still be taking undergrads for those type of programs, those remote programs. So you kind of have to look at the different labs that we have to offer on campus and maybe email those professors that are in charge of those labs, the PIs, and see if they might have some kind of project that they can work with you on.
Yeah, and even if they don't have projects right now, you can ask them, you know, can I start attending lab meetings and kind of get involved with the group that way, that without actually being involved in the wet lab research. Another interesting course is Bio 331, which is taught by Dr. Leti Marquez Magaña, and she's doing a course that will kind of lead to collaborations for students at UCSF around health disparities. And so I think that'd be a super interesting course to think about as well in terms of getting involved in research. Also in January, we usually have applications open for a NSF-funded summer research program called NSF REU, Research Experience for Undergraduates. And so that would be a program to apply for as well in January. All right, we got a few more minutes. Are there any last questions? Or any final comments from the panelists that will help our new students get started on the right foot?
I'll just add to what Katie and Rocio were saying, which is that all of the faculty in the biology department are research active. So we all maintain research programs. And when Katie was talking about the labs, she's really talking about our research labs as opposed to the courses. We have some courses that are run sort of like research laboratories. There's a number of them. But really, if you go to the biology website and look under research, and there's a link for faculty, that lists all of the faculty members and their research interests. If you click on the name, then you'll go to another page that has a little bit more detail. And what I encourage students to do is just look through those and look at the ones that spark your interest. Take a look at their papers. We don't expect anyone to understand our papers initially, but at least get a sense of the kinds of things that we're looking at. And then from there, just send us an email. Be super persistent. This is the lesson that over time and again we try to instill on our students. Persistence is really, really important. And then just email us and try to set up an appointment to talk to us in office hours about our research. And that's sort of the inroad. But also ask your friends, ask your peers. You know, have you heard anything about so-and-so? What's their research lab? Do you know anyone who's worked with them? And your peers are often going to be a huge resource. Okay.
All right. So Manuel says, I noticed that Dr. Rothman isn't here. What classes would assist prepare students looking towards medical school? So we're going to have a pre-health orientation on Tuesday, September 8th from 3:30 to 5. So Brianna will be sending out more information about that. And we will give you some information about what types of classes to be thinking about. In the spring, we're going to be offering, it's kind of a new old class that was taught a long time ago, but hasn't been taught for a while. We're going to be teaching a class called SCI, S-C-I, like science, 239, which is for students who are interested in health professions, including veterinary science. And so the instructor for that course is an active podiatrist and is going to have a lot of inside information, and it's going to be a super course. All right.
I'll
Very
maybe
good.
say, once again, my name is Kimberly Tanner, first generation college going. If you're ever stuck, just email me because I get stuck all the time. I
Yeah.
feel like I learn a new invisible rule of higher education every week, and I am a half century old. So please don't try and solve all these problems yourself. And we just have a fabulous, wonderful department. We're so glad that you're here. You're going to bring all sorts of wonderful perspectives to your colleagues, your peers, to your faculty members. Don't be shy. And yeah, get involved in research. Research is awesome, but know that there are people who come through this department who do all sorts of things. So I'm often putting current students in contact with alums who are practicing zoologists, pediatricians, coroners, teachers, community college professors. And so pretty much any career you can imagine, we can put you in touch with a half dozen alums who are out there making it happen and changing the world. So you're part of a really big group of people who have your back. So don't hesitate to reach out and take advantage of that.
And I would echo what Kimberly's saying, that, you know, you can certainly email her, but you can email anybody in biology. And if you're really stuck and you don't know who to email, then email Brianna, and she's at biology@sfsu.edu. So that's the only email you have to remember, and she can get you pointed in the right direction because she's amazing. So, all right, well, with that, we're kind of close to the end of our time, and we've got to go to the next, we've got a graduate orientation coming up. So it was really great virtually meeting you all. I can't wait to see you on more Zoom things. We'll probably have a town hall or two as the semester goes on to check in with students and see how things are going. So do come to the town hall. This is a great way to kind of get caught up and figure out what's going on. And you know, we'll get through this virtual part together, and we'll make friends, and think about how amazing it's going to be when you actually show up on campus and you get to see your friend in person and hug them for the first time. It's going to be amazing. And so all this work that we do to build connections now is just going to pop when we show back up on campus again. So welcome. We're so glad you're here, and we're here to help. So take care, everybody. And I'm going to end this session. So bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck with